This is Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage, your place for all things Wisconsin sports. Now, your host, Trage.
How we doing, everybody, and welcome into Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, coming back on this Wednesday, May already? May 21st. You know, you feel old when you feel like you got a lot going on when you got to look at your phone to tell what month it is even. And yeah, it's May. It's May. It's the 21st of May. It's almost the end of May. I don't even know what comes after May. But all I know is the sports world it's like dwindling down to speed back up, right? We got the NBA playoffs. We're going to be talking NBA playoffs today. We got Kyle coming on. He's going to be in the second hour of the show. We're going to talk NBA playoffs. We got Ummer coming on. We're going to talk Packers. We had the schedule release happen last week. We didn't get to talk about it, so we're going to talk about it this week here. So we're going to talk Packers schedule release today. We got Brewers. They're kind of playing better, but also at the same time, we're going to talk Brewers. I want to talk Brewers today. So we got lots of things to get into, but I hope you are having a great Wednesday, a great week so far. I just wanted to say at the top of the hour, prayers to everyone and anyone who is affected by the storms that went through this last week here. I mean, that some of the damage that we saw down in Juneau there, that was horrific. That Kyle with the 2x4 in it, that was absolutely horrific. So, I mean, prayers to the farms, everybody affected, the businesses, the homes, everybody out there. And I would love to, if you get in contact with us, make sure you're doing it. wiscosportsonthego@gmail.com. wiscosportsonthego@gmail.com. We've been trying to find ways to help people out. So if there's anything we can do to help you guys out there, we'd love to try and do it, whether it's from donations or anything like that. We'd love to be able to help in any way, shape, or form there. So it's a great Wednesday today. And as you guys know, I always start the show off with what's grinding my gears. Because every week there's something, right? And you know what? It happens every other day. Maybe it's every day. Maybe it's every 5 minutes of the day, right? Something comes up and you're like, that just grinds my gears. That just absolutely drives me nuts. Well, I have a couple today. Number one on my list over this last weekend, I am so sick of Livvy Dunne and Paul Skeens. It is unreal. And I know maybe some people out there don't know who Livvy Dunne and Paul Skeens are. So you could be like, oh, well, who the heck are they? Well, if your social media, like if you're on social media all the time and everything like that with sports and everything, Barstool, everything's Livvy Dunne this, Paul Skeens this, the power couple. Who cares? I don't care. Livvy Dunne, I don't care. Paul Skeens is phenomenal. There you go. Livvy Dunne is only relevant anymore because, well, I don't know, because of TikTok and that. And then, it's basically that. Her LSU days are over. So after that, who cares anymore? But apparently we all do. So I'm so sick of the Paul Skeens, Livvy Dunne thing. It's just driving me absolutely up a wall. I'm just done with it. I'm just absolutely done with it. So that's my number one. My number two thing coming off the weekend that was grinding my gears. So we watched, I don't know if anybody actually watched this, but I was watching the WNBA game, The Fever, and Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. I've had enough of listening and watching, and, I just had enough of this. So Caitlin Clark, there's a turnover, or no, it's Aaliyah Boston gets shoved by Angel Reese. Angel Reese grabs the basketball. She's going to go up for the shot. Caitlin Clark he doesn't really even, it's so not egregious of a foul that I haven't fully been able to process why she got so upset, but she gets upset, as she does, gets up. She looks like she's like, I'm going to throw down with Caitlin Clark here in the middle of the floor. Doesn't end up throwing down, of course. But anywho, now all over social media, I have to see once again, if roles were reversed or this was different, okay, you guys wouldn't be saying this. I would. There you go. You want to take everybody else at their word? Sure. I'm going to tell you this right now. I don't care who it is. If they act like she did after that play, it was a take foul. I can't tell you how many times I am, ever since I started doing I've never been a huge NBA fan. Let's go with that. But ever since I started doing sports talk and everything like that, I've slowly got more into the NBA. And I enjoy it. I do. It's not as good for me as college. Like, I love college basketball. I just haven't been as big of an NBA fan. I've been getting more into the NBA. Let's go with that. I've seen a lot of aggressive take fouls in the NBA. Guys get up, they might get a little like, what was that? Whatever, they move on. But Angel Reese is like, I'm gonna punch you. I'm getting up, and she's about to throw hands, and Caitlin Clark just kind of walks away. And this was the quote that I got, and I saw it on social media, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it when I saw this tweet. So it's from Robert Griffin III. And he said, Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark. It's staring us right in the face, but people are afraid to say it. Won't answer questions about Caitlin Clark. Gets mad when people praise Caitlin Clark for the explosion of popularity around women's basketball. Celebrates her teammates flagrantly fouling Caitlin Clark. Goes after and tries to punch Caitlin Clark after a routine make them earn it foul after Angel Reese fouled Aaliyah Boston with a push in the back that wasn't called. That's not just hate. That's jealousy and resentment. That is it. That is it. Caitlin Clark doesn't have a rivalry with Angel Reese. Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark, and that's the end of it. And that's as far as I want to go with this conversation. What's grinding my gears is having to read across social media all the people whining and bickering about it. And that, if roles were reversed and this and that. Stop it. Stop it. That's enough of that. If roles were reversed. If Caitlin Clark goes around trying to punch people, everybody's going to be in that same boat. It's why Draymond has gotten hate for years, is because of his attitude, the way that he plays the game, the way that he portrays himself. You want to portray yourself that way, you bring the hate onto yourself. You want to cheer when there's flagrant fouls and crap like that, you're going to bring that hate on yourself. Caitlin Clark, it was a take foul. She admitted to it. It was a take foul. She did it. Now, was it a flagrant foul? I don't think so. But was it a take foul? Yes. But you know what she did? She didn't stand there like, hey, I'm this big old tough guy, right? She walked away. Walked away. She wasn't going to get, what was it going to do, right? What was it going to do if she stood there? What? Maybe she should have, because then we could have seen if Angel Reese threw a punch. Okay. Now, what do you got to say? Well, if it was roles reversed, it's not, when it comes to that, it's not roles reversed then. It's that she threw a punch. It's not that she was threatening to throw a punch. I just think we just gotta stop with the if the roles were reversed card. Enough of that. Enough. This is what happened. Plain and simple. There's going to be people that hate on it. There's going to be people that not. Your opinion's your opinion. You can have an opinion. But I think we got to get out of the way of, it's just because of this. It's just because of that. Stop. It gets worse when we got to pull that out all the time. Well, it's just because of this. Okay. Whatever. So that was grinding my gears over the weekend, was watching that and then seeing on social media. It wasn't as much watching, it was seeing on social media all the crap after that. So that was grinding my gears there. The World Buffet in Marshfield is great, and I hate that people hate on it. And if you're out there, if you're the people that run the World Buffet, I don't know the owners, so I'm not going to name names here, right? I don't know the owners, but if you're the owners of the World Buffet, just so you know, I love the World Buffet. And if you want to sponsor the show, be my guest, be sponsor the show. I'd love to have you on and sponsor the show. I love the World Buffet. I just hear people hate on it so much. They're like, it's not good. It's not good. I'm like, it's great. I would go there and eat all day. It's just, I can't, because I don't think I can handle that much food. But I think the World Buffet is great. So I just don't know. I mean, it gets a lot of hate. I'm going to tell you that right now. It gets a lot of hate. I don't know if it's just with the people that I talk to, but with the people that I talk to, they're like, I always say, well, we can go to the World Buffet. Nah, ew, I don't want to go there. I'm like, what are you talking about? The World Buffet is great. So I'm all in with the World Buffet. The World Buffet is great. And some people they don't even know. They don't even know. So that was grinding my gears coming off the weekend. One last thing. People who come to complete stops before they turn. I guess it's two-parter here. It has to do with driving. Because it absolutely drives me nuts when I'm going and people will come to a complete dead halt. But it's fine if there's a car coming. But when they come to almost a stop, when there's nobody coming, it's like, I know you don't want to take the corner hot, but take it a little hot. Don't come to a complete stop here and then turn your minivan over there. Like let's do a little bit of a dance here. Sometimes they have a reason behind it, but I don't know. Sometimes it just gets to me. It just irks me. And then also those people, I don't know if it's against the law or not. I don't know. But when you're driving and there's nobody coming in the right lane, right? And you're turning left, let's just say, and there's nobody coming in the right lane, and you got cars trailing. Instead of getting over into that right lane and then turning, right? Giving yourself that room, letting cars go around you, getting into that other lane and then turning, you just sit in the lane the whole time and then you slowly turn. That absolutely, it just gets to me. I see so many people still do it. I don't know why. It's like you have this free lane over here where you can get out of the way. You can allow the rest of us to keep on going. When they don't have a little passing lane or something, I know you go by like grassland and that they have those, lanes where you can go around. When they don't have that and you're just like at this dirt road intersection or something and the car just doesn't get over and it's like, I mean, just, oh. And then people who pass you when there is cars coming and you're sitting there and there's no passing lane aside of you and people pass you on the shoulder and they're driving on the shoulder through the gravel and they're kicking gravel up at you, that gets to me. And it's like, where are you going that you're in such if it's like an ambulance or something, sure. Like I get out of the way for you. I get on the shoulder myself. Like that's what you're supposed to do. Get on the shoulder yourself. But I mean, if it's just a random dude who's just got to get the quick trip before they run out of Busch Light Apple. Like, why are you driving on the shoulder? Why are you driving over there? Oh, that just gets to me. I don't know why. I'm one of those people, and if you talk to anybody who's ever ridden with me or my family members, outside of I got one speeding ticket way back in the day. But anybody you talk to now, I'm a 55 mile per hour straight line beamer. Like that's me. I'm a Sunday stroll kind of guy. So I'm not a real cruiser. I don't have a lot to complain about. But when I am complaining about traffic, then we know it's a problem because I'm the Sunday stroll guy. So like people complain about me. When I complain about people, then it's like, oh wow, something really is going on. So like, God, some of these people out there, and if you're one of those people, well, it's all fun, right? I'm not like calling you out, but I'm calling you out, but I'm not calling you out. Just remember that. I'm not really, but I am. Just remember that end of the day. So we got lots more to get to. Ummer's going to be on next. We got Kyle coming up later. We got all kinds of stuff to get to today on the show. So make sure you're coming back here. Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trades. 2 hours is just starting here. We'll be right back here after this quick commercial break. Welcome back to Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. We're back on this Wednesday. And hey, I told you Ummer's up next here, but before we get to him, I just wanted to mention, if you want to find us across social media, make sure you're doing it out there. Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch. You can find us on Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok. Just search Wisco Sports on the Go. Facebook and YouTube, search Wisco Sports on the Go with Trage. If you want to text us, and we'd love to hear your opinions across the board on anything that we talked about tonight or anything you might hear on the podcast, make sure you're doing it. 715-990-4914. That is 715-990-4914. This next segment of the show is brought to you by Sport and Spine Clinic of Greenwood, Wisconsin. There, if you've been injured recently, whether you were golfing, playing softball, I don't know what you're doing, right? Maybe you're just walking to your car from the bar and you stepped in a pothole because Wisconsin roadways are sometimes, that kind of, you never know, all right? And you stepped in a pothole, you tore something, you went to a doctor, they said you got to go see a physical therapist. Go see Chad down there at Sport and Spine Clinic of Greenwood. Expert traditional physical therapy and structural integration programming. Call for flexible scheduling and evaluations. Call them down there at Sport and Spine Clinic of Greenwood, Wisconsin. Don't trust anyone else getting you back and ready to go than Chad down there at Sport and Spine Clinic of Greenwood. So I got Ummer here tonight. Ummer, how we doing? It's Wednesday. Packers. I mean, there's not a whole lot happening, but there's still stuff to talk about. There's still stuff to dabble in. So how we doing tonight on this Wednesday?
I'm good, man. I can't complain, bro. It's been a week, to say the least, and but we're middle of the hump week. We got a long weekend ahead of us here coming up, so I am not complaining one bit. I'm just ready for that. Honestly, I've been hearing a lot of this trash talking by all these fans and all these folks hating on LaFleur and Jordan. I got coaches talking out the side of their neck. You know what? I'm just looking forward for this season to start. I know we're 3.5 months away, but I can't wait. I just sign me up, man. Let's get this party rocking and rolling.
I agree. There's there's so much hate. There's always so much hate when it's not even started yet. They're all like,
Yes.
oh, well, last year, this is what I saw. And last year's, and I get it. I get it. But it's also, that's what the greatest part is about Wisconsin sports fans. The optimism's never there. There's never optimism. There's constant. What's Greg Gard going to do with the Badgers this year, except for suck because he didn't go get anybody? What are the Brewers going to do because they're going to suck because they didn't go get anybody? Right now they're sucking, so I can't say much about that. But that's how that's going right now. But it's always we're not very optimistic people, which is okay. It's you don't have very good. You're not very you're not very like this is going to go well, and then it does. It feels better. So I guess that's one way to look at it. So I would agree with you there. But we got some maybe good, maybe bad to talk about today here with the Packers schedule release because we knew it was going to be a gauntlet. We just didn't know that it was going to be this. We didn't know that we were going to be looking at the Green Bay Packers trying to balance a bye week in week 5 while also playing 2 weeks of short rest, 4-day weekends, basically. Like it's got a 4-day weekend from school and then you go right back. Basically, that's what the Green Bay Packers are balancing here. When you got week 1, you're going to be taking on Detroit and it's going to be an afternoon game. And then you got a night game against the Commanders coming up that next Thursday. And then later on in the schedule, you have the Vikings on a Sunday and then Detroit coming up on that next Thursday. So 2 games, 2 sets of 4-day rest weekends there, base. It's not ideal.
No.
Especially when you got a week 5 bye week, which seems very early. I know sometimes you want it and it's like, oh, I wish it was week 5 and it wasn't week 11. But in a schedule like this, I don't know if I'm crazy, but in a schedule like this, I'm like, this kind of gauntlet. I'd rather have it, middle of the pack there, separate some of these games up. But instant reactions. Yes. When you saw this schedule come out, because we knew the opponents, like we knew who the Packers were going to play, but we didn't know it was going to look like this. So instant reaction when you saw this, you're like, what?
I think you said on the Coast to Coast show that week 5 bye really screwed me up. I was kind of hoping for a later bye, but I feel like all in all, looking at the teams we're playing this year, we knew who the opponents were, but just seeing all the teams and just seeing how like the travel is going to be as well as when we're playing certain teams at certain points in the season, this is definitely going to be one of those seasons that's going to like make the Packers a battle-tested team. And it's going to be really up to them to decide if they want to come out of this stronger or weaker, right? Defeated or elevated, right?
Yep.
And I think that this is one of those seasons where we don't have to have the feeling of being like, oh, well, this is a gimme game or that one we should win easily. I feel like every single game from the Cleveland Browns, and the bottom of the barrel Bears to the teams that won their divisions like the Ravens and the Lions, and I mean, heck, even you got Denver in there. A lot of playoff teams from last year are on our schedule, and I think the only way you're going to get better to be able to make the playoffs and also make some noise in the playoffs is playing against caliber teams that were in the playoffs and showing how your resolve is against that kind of talent.
I don't like the last 4 weeks.
I agree.
At Denver, at Chicago, Baltimore back at home, and then at Minnesota. If you don't have a somewhat of a playoff spot, almost, not really, but almost locked up by week 15, I'm scared. Yeah. I'm looking at it and I'm saying, oh boy. Like this, shut up. But like, you got to go to Denver, who's an up-and-coming team. You have to go to Chicago, who we expect is going to be something. I don't think they can be it. They could be like Chicago. Chicago knows how to screw up a good thing, right? They just know how to screw up a good thing. Yes, I think that they will again? I don't know. Like, I'm not banking on it. Don't bank on Chicago to screw it up again. That's all I'm going to say. Don't bank on the Chicago Bears team to suck. The Packers have to win the games like you mentioned there. There's no gimmies.
Right.
No, this whole schedule. There's no gimmies. This is a very tough week by week. I think they're lucky they got the Browns week 3 because I don't think Shedeur or anything's going to be settled by then. Right. I think if you see the Browns later in the season, I think they could be a different team. So I think seeing them earlier on is going to actually be a benefit to this Packers team. I think you're looking at an Arizona team and you're like, you got to win that game. You got to beat Carolina. You have to somehow beat Cincinnati. You have to win your home games, right? So that's looking at teams. New York, you got to go to New York and win that game. You got to have these games. The NFC North, you can't afford to lose at home.
Right.
You can go on the road and lose in Detroit and not, you're not losing at all right there. But if you lose week 1 to Detroit at home, and then you have Washington 4 days later, that's not good. That's not a good start, because then you do have Cleveland coming up, which is supposed to be your little bit of a break, but then you go to Dallas. And I know everybody's going to say, oh, Jerry and the Cowboys. I tell you what, they're a regular season team. They've never been a playoff team, but they find ways to win in the regular season, and I wouldn't count it out. And the Packers are pretty successful in AT&T. So, like, it's not like I'm not saying the Packers can't go down there and win, but you don't want to set yourself up bad.
Right.
So this schedule is going to be a lot of sandwich games, not setting yourself up bad, winning the games that you're supposed to win. Is there that game when you looked at the schedule, even a stretch of games where you're like, this could be the make or break moment? Because there's always that moment in a schedule, right? I see it all the time in basketball schedules where it's like when you get into conference play, this is the make or break stretch of games right here. The tough games, the tough stretches. Is there that tough stretch when you look at it and you're like, this is where the Packers, it's going to be that put up or shut up time for the Green Bay Packers right here, right then. This is where they got to be at their best.
You know what? I feel like if after basically the Monday night game with the Eagles onward, so mid-season point, second week of November, really at that point, you've kind of gone through the gauntlet of the first half of the season with some marquee teams. You know, Dallas has a pretty good talent, but they have a new coaching staff. You know, former, NFC championship arrival game of the Commanders. Then, got the Lions and Bengals and Cardinals. But once you get past all them, Philadelphia Eagles, Super Bowl champs, then you kind of work your way down. You got the Giants, they're a young and up-and-coming team. Minnesota and Detroit are still them. Chicago Bears. Yeah, you face them twice, and this is the first time you're going to be seeing them. Come December will be the first time you see the Bears. At that point, both the Packers and the Bears are going to be very much established as who they really are at that point of the season. And I think we mentioned the Broncos, who have probably one of the best defenses in the league and a young and up-and-coming offense with Bo Nix. And then close it out with the Ravens and the Vikings. I think you just said a second ago, last 4 weeks of the season sucks. That second half, we're going to really know up until that point what kind of team the Packers are, because they're going to have about 2 months to figure it out. And then literally before we go to Baltimore, we'll have an idea if we're a playoff caliber team or not. I mean, I know what I have is a record guess for the year, but honestly, what we want and what really happens, sometimes they line up and sometimes they don't. And I feel like that second half of the season is really going to show us what the Packers are really made of, which is, I think, are the generic answers. I'm not trying to be cliche by any means, right? But definitely feel like they have a great way of rounding out the season with some teams that basically every team is up and coming and has the talent to be good. Will they, though, is the question.
I like the end. It's go win the division.
Yes.
With all, some people hate when you backload all these NFC North teams at the end, right? They're like, why aren't they spread out? Because you have Chicago. Basically, you have Chicago, then Denver, then Chicago again. It's like, why are you playing Chicago so much? Maybe that could have been separate a little bit, but I do like you have this week 12 to week 18 where you're seeing Minnesota twice, you're seeing Chicago twice, and you're seeing Detroit in there, and then you have 2 random games with Denver and Baltimore. Those are the weird ones. But outside of that, you have go win the division right now.
Right.
I like that. I enjoy that kind of schedule make, because now it's okay. You went through your rest of your games. Where are we at now? And now we're playing these division games. How are we sitting? Are we going to win this thing? Do we have the ability to win this thing? Where are we at? You control your own destiny.
All right.
That's where I think the Packers are in this schedule, is they're going to control their own destiny by the time they get to that week 12 game. What did you do against what I guess you would say is the easier part of the schedule? What did you do against the easier part of the schedule? Now you're getting into this gauntlet time. So that's kind of where I'm looking in there. So I would say, what game are you most excited for? I mean, is there a game in here where you're like, I'm excited to watch the Packers play? I mean, you see most of these teams basically every year, but what's that game where you're like, I'm excited for this matchup on this day?
I mean, honestly, the three games that I'm really excited about, Bengals, because I am a Joe Burrow fan because of my LSU fandom. The Eagles, because they are the Super Bowl champs. And the Ravens, because I love Lamar. And just seeing how we can match up with those high-power offenses. And then, of course, against the former champs, how we can hold them
I tell you what, those games for the opening 2 games at Lambeau between Detroit and then when they play Washington, I'm on ESPN looking at all this stuff.
Yeah, I got
and
you.
it says tickets as low as $303 for the opening game,
Dude,
and then the week later, tickets are already selling for as low as $277. That's nuts. That's expensive tickets to get into.
For Green Bay.
Well, I mean, you look even far ahead. This is Philadelphia.
Yeah,
a 7:15 game on a Monday. Tickets as low as $282. I mean, I'm not saying like that's great. Like if tickets are high, that means fans are buying them. That's great. And you're going to have sold out places. I love that. And hopefully, I know a lot of people are mad about this, about season ticket holders having their tickets taken away.
I saw that.
Hopefully, we could talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
But like, hopefully, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that because I know there's a lot of upset people. Here's my thing. In today's day and age, the Packers, many other businesses, right? This is a business. This is nothing more than a business.
Yeah.
They have the ability to track you and your ticket and your numbers and where they're going.
Yeah.
And when they find out that you've sold every single time for the past how many years in a row and you've never been to Lambeau in that stretch of games.
Yeah.
Why are you complaining?
Yeah,
I don't
story.
Get it.
Yeah,
I don't get it. You can if you got it taken away and you've been to Lambeau, or you're like, oh well, this happened, this life changing thing happened, and I didn't make it for 6 weeks. Okay, I'm like, dude, like you can't expect them to be there every single week. Sometimes life gets in the way. I get those. But when it's been multiple years and you have the longest wait time in basically all of sports to get get a season ticket, and you have the longest wait time, and you are at the head of that because you already have it, and you have a line of people where if I signed my baby up right now, he wouldn't be until he's like 30 or 40. He maybe would get season tickets to the Packers. Yeah. Outside of that, no way. At this point, if you're selling them off, and that's why Detroit fans are able to infiltrate Lambeau, or Philadelphia can come over, or Chicago can come up, or Minnesota fans, I'm okay with them being there. Like I don't hate when opposing fans are there. I think it creates a great atmosphere. But I also don't like when the majority of Lambeau is blue. I don't like when the majority of Lambeau is purple. I hate the color purple. I don't like when it's purple. I like blue, but I don't like blue Detroit blue. Oh, wait, crap. I do like baby blue. Detroit sucks. But anyways,
I'm with you. Like the guy's
colors.
The guy's story was like, oh, my parents have had cancer and I've been dealing with that, and that's why I haven't been able to go to games. Okay, I get that. But I was like, if it's for multiple years, I was like, I understand there's some cancer that's can linger. I get all that. Yeah. I was like, but clearly I don't feel like the Packers are so heartless that they wouldn't take some of that stuff into consideration unless they were like, okay, I think you're just saying that you're just selling the tickets for profit, right?
Yeah.
Every time me as a fan who lives in Northern Virginia has to watch my boys on TV, and I see the opposing team's fans all over the stadium to the point where you can notice it, which is something you would never see at Lambeau Field for many, many years. It's like, all right, I get people, they want to make some money. They're hard on times. They can't make it to the game. Contact Kyle Kuzno. Kyle Kuzno is the de facto mayor of Green Bay. He's not the real mayor, but he's basically kind of like it. That guy on Twitter, if you have tickets you want to sell, he will help you find other Packer fans to sell them to. That way, then, we all stay in-house. Now, there's still – I can see Packer, $12.65 maybe pulling your tickets eventually. But as long as you're selling them to other Packer fans, then you're doing you're not doing us a disservice by selling them to the enemy. I mean, I get it. To some people, it's not that serious. It is to me. And I agree, too. That wait list is no joke. You talk about you putting your baby in now, literally 30, 40 years there, they may get a shot at tickets. And I'm just if you don't want your tickets and you just want to keep selling them, you don't want to attend games, and like you say, you want to make it a business, well, I mean, then there might be some repercussions of that because that's what the tickets are there for. The tickets are there for fans that want to go to the games.
I agree. And I really do think if they were just more careful, and they said, I don't want to just go to the highest bidder because that's where they're looking. They're looking at the highest
That's
bidder.
all it is. Yeah, that's all
I want to sell to a Packer fan because I tell you what, I'm a part of 45 different groups on Facebook of Packer fans. I'm a part of, Twitter, everywhere. You can find Packer fans. Yes. They don't hide Packer fans don't hide it. They don't hide that they're a Packer fan. You can find Packer fans who are like, I'm not doing nothing on Sunday. Sure, I'll buy your ticket from you. That's great. And, I'll pay X amount of dollars. Maybe I'm not going to pay like a Detroit Lions fan will pay just to get over here. But I'm going to pay you a good amount to get into that game if it's a good ticket, right? Yeah. I just think they've been too careless with it and not caring. And I think that's where the Packers finally stepped in and said, well, there's a something to be said about home field advantage. And when 100%. We go to a team like Philadelphia and we see that, we want that. We want that here. When we go to Detroit and we hear how loud it is, we want that here because we know how loud Lambeau can get. Look at Arrowhead. Yeah. When they get that place going, my goodness. I mean, it's open and they record some of the loudest sounds out there. Yeah. It's ridiculous. So I'm with the fans who maybe they just couldn't make it because they, like you said, ran into some health problems, everything like that. I feel for that. I do. I feel for that. And there are ways that you can talk. I guarantee it. Talk with the Packers. Be like, hey, this is what's going on. Okay. We come to an understanding. But at the same time, if you're just selling them off to the top bidder, that's also a problem in the Packers' eyes. And it's a business at the end of the day. It's a business. Yeah. You can be upset, but it's the business. I don't know what else to say besides every major league sport is a business. And at the end of the day, we're at the mercy of said business. So that's it. That's plain and simple. That's plain and simple on that. So we got a little bit more Packer talk here. We're going to get to more Packers today. We got more Packer talk here after the quick break. We're going to come back. We're a little late for the break. We're going to come back here. We're going to talk more Packers here on the backside. We'll be right back on Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Welcome back to Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, coming back on this Wednesday. And hey, I just wanted to remind everybody out there that Vikings fans sometimes can be a little crazy. A little crazy. That's all I'm going to say. They can be a little crazy. We're going to talk about why, but I'm going to tell you right now, you'd be crazy not to get down to Foreman's Hardware. That's all I know. You'd be crazy not to get down there. They have a boatload of deals right now. And if you get in there right now and you tell them I sent you, tell them Trade sent you, you get 5% off. Spices, Traegers, pellets, sauces, you got tools, you got hardware, you got gardening supplies, you have dirt. They have everything. Basically everything you need to do landscaping outside of a willing self. That's about it. They can't make you want to do it, but they can send you a flyer that tells your wife, get down there and get some stuff from the land to get landscape the yard here. So that's all I know. You'd be crazy not to get down to Foreman's Hardware for those great deals right now in loyal Colby or Medford, Wisconsin. Tell them I sent you. Tell them Trade sent you. Get 5% off there. So, I was watching the other night. I have this guy on TikTok that I watch. Okay. The Vikings guy, they call him. And I'm watching him. And I'm commenting in, and he kind of ignores me sometimes because he doesn't want to talk to me about the Packers or anything like that. But I can't remember what I said. And he tells me that I am just a butthurt Packer fan because I'm not going to like, and I have to come to the realization that Jordan Love is going to probably be the worst quarterback in the NFC North. That's what he told me. Okay. Jared Goff had a great year last year. Yeah. I ain't going to knock that. Jared Goff was great. Okay. I actually said at one point, I was like, Jared Goff could be an MVP in a normal year where you don't have all these other guys popping off. Jared Goff could be an MVP candidate. I thought he was. I thought he was very consistent. I thought the game against Houston didn't help him, and I thought there were some of those games that didn't help him out very much. But I thought he was a great and very instrumental in what Detroit was able to do. So I looked at MVP and I said he takes his team over the top. Now, was he ahead of Saquon? No. Was he ahead of Lamar? No, I don't think so. But was he a great quarterback? Yes. Caleb Williams. I felt like he was just in a terrible spot. He had a terrible coach. He had a terrible system. And when you put all those things together and receivers that just look like they didn't care, you put all those things together, you have a disaster. So could Caleb Williams be great? Sure, he could be great. I'm not saying he can't be. I think he's got to get out of his own way. I think he's got it's all up there for him. Just like I said before, Jordan Love, it's all up there. It's all up there. And I think he's got, if he figures that out, he could be something. If Ben Johnson could put it all together. JJ McCarthy, I liked him in college. I don't hate J.J. McCarthy. Like, I want to get this out of the way. I don't hate J.J. McCarthy. I didn't hate him at Michigan. I thought he was a solid dude.
Right.
Is he a great quarterback, though? No. Never has been.
Right.
If he's going to be a great quarterback, he's going to take that Brock Purdy way around the barn look to get to a great quarterback.
Yes.
And there will always be the question marks of, was it the talent around him that got him to that point? Because Brock Purdy's in that same boat. Everybody's like, oh, I don't know. Anybody can win with this offense because they got, CMC and they got Brandon Ayuk and they got Deebo and they got George Kittle. Anybody can win with that offense. And then we saw other guys try and they suck. So I'm going to go with it was Brock Purdy a little bit along the way, right? But I look at JJ McCarthy and I say the same thing. I really do. If I had to pick a comp for JJ, I really like. I don't know if he's as good as Brock Purdy, but I would say he reminds me of a guy like Brock Purdy. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I don't know. This was a little far out there. I think JJ McCarthy's got a lot to prove. I also think, honestly, Caleb Williams has got a lot to prove.
Yeah, 100%.
I think Jordan Love has a lot to prove too. But what the thing with it is I look at those guys. And I'm going to say this in a nice way possible because I like to be fair to all fan bases too. I don't think any of those guys have fully reached their potential.
No.
Williams, J.J. McCarthy hasn't definitely because he hasn't been out there. And Jordan Love, I don't think Jordan Love has reached his full potential. When they do, I think this might be one of the best divisions for quarterbacks. If you ask me, Detroit after Jared Goff, I don't know what they're going to do. But with the rest of these guys, I love it. I want to see Hendon Hooker. That's what I want to see from him.
Yeah.
But
he can play.
I liked him at Tennessee. I thought he was great at Tennessee. It was always fun to watch. And then he went, and surprised me, went to Detroit Lions there. And it was, I'd be interested to see him play. But, Ummer, you hear that. You hear this Vikings guy. He says, basically, Packer fans shouldn't be surprised when Jordan Love's the worst quarterback in the North. Honestly, if all these quarterbacks pan out the way that, people think that they will, the experts, right? It could be a 3-horse, 4-horse, pretty darn good quarterback division, in my opinion.
So, these are the same fans that said that Mitch Trubisky was going to dethrone Aaron Rodgers. These are the same guys that said
he was beating them for one whole game until Raj came back.
Yeah, with a broken knee. My knee. And probably orchestrated one of the best comebacks ever. Don't forget Mike Pettin shut down that offense in the second half. They scored
That's true.
3 points after that. And so every year, the Packers have set the standard in the NFC North, regardless if we win the division or not. And every year, every team in the division is always trying to play catch-up. Yep. Detroit has literally won the division probably 2 seasons in a row, and they still talk about us. The Bears, they can't keep us out their mouth. The Vikings, they really have no idea what they have in the quarterback right now. Like, none. Like, J.J. McCarthy could be pretty good, or he could be nothing, correct? And the truth is, he was pretty decent in Michigan, but in Michigan, he really didn't have to do a lot. In Michigan, that team was completely stacked that won the championship, and they had talent up and down that roster. So, again, Minnesota is built in a very similar way. Kevin O'Connell is a very good quarterback whisperer, pretty good OC. I'm a hater, so I'm just going to hate a little bit. But the truth is he's a pretty good coach, though. And Caleb Williams, to me, he is exactly who we saw he was in college. There's not much of a drop-off in the fact that he doesn't play on schedule. He doesn't play on time. He does play a little bit more backyard football, scramble king kind of guy, a little bit of what Rodgers did at the end of his career in Green Bay, and even what he did in New York as well as last year. I think quarterbacks like that can only survive for so long playing that way. And if Jordan Love somehow turns out to be the worst quarterback in this division, which I don't think is going to happen, and that means everybody else has hit their stride and hit their pinnacle point of being very good quarterbacks, that may not be saying much because they all might be still pretty good. They all might be in the top 10 anyways, right?
Yep.
But personally, Jordan Love, back-to-back years, has had a pretty good season statistically. I know that when you looked at his gameplay from week in and week out, we didn't feel that way. But numbers-wise, yardage-wise, he was a little short, but his touchdowns and interceptions were pretty good. He didn't have as many touchdowns, but that's because he missed a lot of games. But he still had 25 touchdowns. He did have a number of picks, but his picks did stay pretty consistent. His completion percentage went up by a little bit. And all in all, if there's anybody that has the most success right now to be the most chance to be even more successful, I think it's Jordan, just because of the fact that the consistency and the continuity of the team, right?
Yep.
Coaching staff, players around him, and just the way the team has been built. It does eliminate a lot of his excuses. But again, I just think fans at NFC North in particular, they're always biting. They're always hating. They're never happy. Their team could literally, the way they Minnesota celebrate after beating us in Minnesota was like they won the Super Bowl. Right? I mean, they had Sam Darnold on their shoulders. They were throwing water all over him. It was like they thought they had a champagne party and the Lombardi Trophy was coming out. But guess what? Nothing came out. And all that came out was after that, they basically had dud games after that. They just didn't even show up. So, again, I think out of all the teams in the NFC North, the Packers are the ones, minus Detroit, have the ones that have actually shown success in the playoffs. And so, yeah.
No, I would agree.
I can't wait for Jordan to prove them all wrong. So I'm down for it.
This is going to be a fun one. I think this is going to be a fun division for a while. You know, with the talent that they're going to have at the quarterback rooms. And if Detroit, like we're talking about Hendon Hooker there before, but what comes after Jared Goff? I think it's going to be a fun division to watch.
Yeah.
And I think you said something great there with Jordan Love from what we saw last year. I think a lot of it was the numbers were there, the winning wasn't. And when you're not winning football games, you try to find different areas you can point at and say, what could be better, right? And we look at the offensive line, the pre-snap penalties, we look at all that stuff, but we also look at, okay, how did Jordan Love look? And that's where you're like, it didn't look good, all the time. So that's where you're kind of looking all over the place. So I would agree with you there, but I just thought that was crazy when I seen that there. So I have a question.
Yes. Because
a lot of Packer fans are asking this, and I think we get the same question every single offseason.
Okay.
Do we trust Matt LaFleur to call the offense? Because we talk about it, it seems like every offseason. And even Matt LaFleur gets the question every offseason where he's like, do you think you should call the offense? And like you've told me, and we've heard him say, it's like until somebody else, until they think that somebody else is better, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. So do we trust him? Do we trust him? Do we think that this offense and Matt LaFleur has the ability to take this offense and say, okay, let's make this thing to be one of the best in the NFC? Do you think Matt LaFleur's got that ability?
I think so. I think the way he came up, the way he has designed his resume, the way he's designed this team, the way he's been very innovative with the different things he's tried. I do think that sometimes because he did something and it used to work and then it stopped working, that he stopped going to it, like his mesh concepts and stuff like that from 2019 and 2020. I do feel like he may want to try to go back to that again because he has the pieces to make it work with all the with Golden, with Savion, to include Josh Jacobs and Emmanuel Wilson back there, and also Marshawn Lloyd. I do believe he can do it. I definitely think that he needs to get out of his own way. And what I mean by that is he did have a tendency of getting a little too conservative at times. And then it's like he got conservative when he should be aggressive, and then he got aggressive when he should be conservative, right? It's like no matter what he did, he was always picking the wrong thing. And I think hopefully with more input from the guys around him, even you got Rich Bisaccia coming back and saying that he's doing another year, he was going to retire because he felt like he let LaFleur down. I think, as an assistant head coach, you have to be the next best guy when it comes to understanding situations and game, play to play, what to do. I do feel like Matt LaFleur is an offensive genius. I mean, looking at some tape that Dusty Everly has broken down and just watching the way he shows from play to play, how he sets things up, I think he's a masterclass at that. He did learn from the best from Kyle and from Mike Shanahan. And because of that, I do believe he can do it. With that being said, this year might be that year where if we start seeing this disjointedness again from week in to week out, from game in to game out, from quarter in to quarter out, questions might start coming up more so than they did last year, right?
I think the big thing is, and like you said, is it disjointed? Do you have control of the locker room? Can you do both?
Right.
Because if you're so focused on the game plan, and we feel like you're so focused on the game plan that we don't believe that you have control over the locker room, or the locker room's lost, or you're losing this, or it just seems like they're not coming out prepared, or, this whole team as a unit isn't fired up. then that becomes my worry. Then it becomes, okay, are you doing your job as the head coach first? Because you're my head coach first, then you're my offensive play caller. So that's because, I mean, as a head coach, you can still call the offense. You just maybe aren't in that, as in that room as what we've seen. Do you have that ability to control both? That's where we're kind of going to be at a crossroads, I guess, coming up this season to see, like you said, with Matt LaFleur, if he can do both and if that does transpire and grow. Does he grow as a head coach and a play caller out there? So I had one question here. We're getting close to our break here, but I have one question for you because I know you got to get out of here. But the Packers, we know that they didn't address the defensive line.
Yeah.
The Bengals are having some problems with Trey Hendrickson because the Bengals are cheap. And they just went and they signed up T. Higgins and Jamar Chase because that was what made Joe Burrow happy. Joe Burrow, if he wanted to, could probably tell the Bengals, hey, go sign Trey Hendrickson because don't let him go, because Joe Burrow is basically the GM of this team at this point. But the Bengals haven't. I mean, I Trey Hendrickson, 17.5 sacks, 65 pressures in 2024. That's pretty darn good numbers. You put him across from Rashawn Gary, that helps over Rashawn Gary. Maybe you can call the Bengals and say, hey, we got this guy in Lucas Van Ness. We don't believe in him. Well, we shouldn't say that, right? We believe in him, and we know that he can get there, and we could give you guys these picks too, and we can give you Lucas Van Ness because what's the point on having him if you've got Trey Hendrickson and Rashawn Gary? You're not really going to utilize him anymore. Okay, we can give you this up-and-coming, that we think pass rusher. We can give you some picks. We can deal these out. You send us Trey Hendrickson. We can make him happy over here. What are your thoughts? I'm all in. I'm all in. No matter if I'm Goody, I don't care if they take the deal. I'm calling the Bengals night in and night out until either they sign him long term or somebody else makes that trade. I am calling them day after day after day, just annoying the crap out of them, giving them different options, and saying, "Okay, if you don't like it, give me your options," and then have them throw them at you. Because the closer and closer you get to the season, they're going to want to get this done. They don't want to leave him just sit there. They're going to want to get this done. Trey Anderson's going to want to get this done. The Packers are going to want, because the value becomes less and less the closer you get. So, I mean, Albert, where are we looking? I'm all in on Trey Anderson. I'm all in on the Packers going out and getting this bona fide pass rusher, because if you get him, I think the stock and the Packers Super Bowl contenders, I think that goes way up with a guy like Trey Hendrickson coming in.
I mean, honestly, I look at guys like Trey Hendrickson, TJ Watt, guys who are semi-upset with their teams. I think Hendrickson is a hell of a lot more upset than Mr. Watt is. I think that it reminds me of the Reggie White, pickup back in the day when he was a free agent and, God told him to come to Green Bay. In reality, it was just a crap ton of money, right? Yep. Fact is, getting a guy like him, you're going to have to figure out a way to extend him. I do trust in Russ Ball. He'll figure out a way to make it work, right? And does that mean you have to restructure certain contracts when it comes to Jair, when it comes to Love, when it comes to Kenny Clark and other guys? That's fine. I don't give up on Lucas Van Ness, but I understand the logic with it. Because for me, I liked the Van Ness pick at the time, minimally, only because I wanted JSN, right? But I was like, okay, well, I can see the logic a little bit. But since then, I just haven't seen him take the next step. And I don't know how much of that was coaching and how much of that was his talent. Yeah. So the Covington defensive line coach pickup, we'll see if that makes the difference. But let's say, okay, you have an opportunity to trade away Lucas Van Ness, a second and a third, and the second could turn into a first if he does so many snaps, he makes all-pro, all these different, these stipulations they put in, right?
Yep.
And then you have to still extend him too. So you do all that, you're talking about greatly improving our opportunities to become Super Bowl appearances this year, because right now, Rashawn Gary, ever since his injury, he's a good player, but he's not this. I feel like he just isn't there yet where he was before he tore his ACL in Detroit, right?
Yep.
And you do need somebody on the other side of, literally defensive player of the year and Trey Hendrickson to take off the pressure on the whole defensive line. You're not just talking about Rashawn Gary. You're talking about Kenny Clark. You're talking about Slayton. You're talking about possibly Stackhouse and Brimson and Wyatt. All those guys will have less pressure on them because they're going to have a guy like Henderson who demands at least two people on him at all times. TJ Watt, same way too. So I make that trade. I figure out how to make it work because at the end of the day, there's a reason why there's some teams that make these trades. Like I hate to use the Eagles as an example, but they're willing to make trades and do trade away assets or players or things like that, get marquee guys in there and get that last bump they need over the hump to be able to be, again, there's a reason why they have been a Super Bowl last 3 years.
Yep.
And I feel like our one deficiency right now is pass rush. And banking all that on just a coach to make the difference, I feel like it's a lot of A, pressure on that coach, and B, it just, I feel like it could be a recipe for disaster. Because if that doesn't get the job done, if our pass rush is still crappy, then it's like, okay, then what are you doing, right? Because Henderson's bridges with Cincinnati are almost all burnt.
Yep.
Like he got the coach even telling him that, hey, if you don't show up, you're going to be fined. And I'm like, hey, like Zach, like I'm a big Zach Taylor guy. But I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like you're literally like putting your best player on the spot because he's not happy with his contract, and he was promised a contract extension if he played well, which he did. So it's like, all right, well, someone's not coming through on their promises, and Cincinnati's already proven that they don't know what they're doing when it comes to their players. They're not even signing their contracts that they've set up for their rookies aren't even that good to the point where if they get hurt and it's not a career-ending injury, they don't even get coverage or something crazy like that, right?
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, I can see why people aren't happy to be there, right? And Joe Burrow he restructured his deal just to fit Jamar Chase and Higgins under his contract. Under the cap. So I'm like, well, I don't know if there's any more money left for Hendrickson. And if there isn't, then yeah, you need to get the most you can for him, and you're not going to cut him, right? So if someone's offering you a third or fourth round pick that could turn into a second or a third or whatever you want to do, and then maybe a player with that, you take that deal and run.
I would agree. there. And, the difference of Trey Hendrickson and Noah Trey Hendrickson is 2+ wins. That's all I got to say.
I can see that. I agree with that.
Because, like you just mentioned there, it's the pass rush. And when you have him in there, it makes everything easier for everybody else. It makes Rashawn Gary that much better. It makes those guys up the middle that much better. Yep. Trey Hendrickson is that kind of difference on a defense, and is the difference between you're an 11-win team or a 13-win team. And I'm taking that to the bank. I will anytime. A guy like this is guaranteed a couple wins. That's where I'm at with a move like this. So I agree. You make a move like this because you want to go win a Super Bowl. And when that's the difference between Super Bowl winning organizations and not, is when the opportunity presents itself to go and win it, you go and win it. And that's how you win, right? Not in hypothetical terms, right? Yeah. You go and win it with a move like this. So Elmer's got to get out of here. We got to hit a break because holy crap, we're woefully late again. We're going to hit a break here. We're going to come back. We're going to wrap it up. We're going to hit the top of the hour. We got more talk today. We got Brewer talk. We got all kinds of stuff to get to. Bucks later, but NBA, whatever we're going to get to. We don't even know yet. Kyle's going to be here. We got all kinds of stuff to talk about. So we'll be back here on the backside of this quick ad break. Welcome back to Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, on this Wednesday. And hey, this last part of the show here, last part of the hour, is brought to you by Marshfield Motor Speedway, the half-mile paved track just 3 miles west of Marshfield on County Road H. Find upcoming events and races at marshfieldspeedway.com. That is marshfieldspeedway.com. So I asked a question. If you want to get involved in these questions I ask, get involved on social media. Follow us, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch. Find us across those. Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. So I asked the question. I said, hey, everyone, we just got done talking with Umar there about the Packers schedule. And I said, hey, everyone, give me your thoughts on the Packers schedule, instant reactions. What do you got for me? So I had a couple people across there. So I want to, read off their answers here on the show real quick here before we hit the top of the hour. So Ruben, nice. I love that name, Ruben. Nice Ruben sandwich. He said it's a tough draw with the Lions right away. Bye week is way too soon. Tough road schedule last part of the season. Just hope we're healthy. I agree. We talked about that earlier. Umar and I did, with the bye week being early, the Lions right away, a couple quick turnaround games there, and a lot of road games to end it. I agree 100% there. So I love that answer there from Ruben. Matt Cairns said, opening the season at home is nice, but sucks. They drew the Lions. Early bye week, 4 of the last 6 on the road to end the year. I agree with you, Matt. I really do. I agree with you there. It sucks. We talked about that. The end of the year stretch for the Packers is going to be a struggle. The end of the year stretch for the Packers is the hardest part of that schedule there. So I would agree with you 100% on that one. Chad told us that he sees 8 to 9 wins. All right. I had 11 to 12. So, 8 to 9. We'll see. That's a low number, but we'll see what happens. I've never knocked anybody's opinion on a prediction because the prediction is a prediction. You can't really predict crap. Outside of that, I don't think that J.J. McCarthy is going to all of a sudden be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC North. That's what I got. That's the only prediction that I'll give out there. Todd did tell us that nothing to really analyze. To be the best, you got to beat the best. I agree with the last part of the statement. If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. We can analyze anything, Todd. That's what we can do. That's what we're here for. As fans, our job is to analyze everything that the Packers give us, whether it's a press conference, whether it's, a schedule, whether it's stats. That's what we do. That's what we do for fun. We analyze games. That's the fun of it. So I would say we have a lot to analyze with this one here. It's that it's a tough schedule and it's going to be a tough stretch for the Green Bay Packers there. So we're going to get to the top of the hour here. We got Kyle coming on. We're going to talk NBA. I want to talk about NBA conference finals, everything in between. We got some NFL talk to get to yet today here. I want to talk about some of the rule talk that the NFL has been talking about, so we're going to get to that. We got all kinds of stuff to get to in the second hour of the show. So make sure you are coming back here for the second hour of Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trade. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break. Welcome back to Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trade. I'm your host, Trade. We're back here for the second hour of the show here. And I told you guys we went to the break. Kyle's coming on now. We're going to talk. We have NBA talk to get to. We want to talk a little NFL. So we got all kinds of stuff we want to tap into here. But hey, this next segment of the show is brought to you by Foreman's Hardware. They offer you everything from home essentials to farm supplies, house to farm, grills to drills. Foreman's Hardware has got you covered. Visit today in Loyal, Colby, or Medford, Wisconsin. Tell them Trade sent you. Tell them I sent you down there. Get 5% off. What's better? 5% off. Get whatever you need for landscaping, whatever it is this time of year. That's what you need. 5% off there at Foreman's Hardware. Tell them Trade sent you. Get 5% off. So Kyle, back here tonight. Kyle, how we doing? It's Wednesday. We're making it through the week. How we doing on this Wednesday?
I'm good, despite my team no longer being in the playoffs. But I do think it's going to be good to see a new champion. So I can't complain.
I love that answer because it was my problem with the college football playoff. The only one I had with the Final Four teams for the longest time was Clemson and Alabama every single year, and it got exhausting after a while. It's just like, I understand they're the two best teams at this very moment, but it's exhausting watching them both here every single year. And I would agree. It's going to be nice to see one of these teams, one of these guys, one of these star players is going to get their first championship. Is it Brunson? Is it SGA? Is it Anthony Edwards? Is it, we hope not, Tyrese Halliburton, right? Just anyways, but we hope not, but it could be, right? So, Kyle, let's start there. Let's start right there with these championship games coming up. So we have the Pacers and the Knicks. Not exactly, if we look back, would we probably have predicted this one? Probably not, but I think this is an enticing matchup. I think this is a very enticing matchup that can go one of two ways. I think it can go. I know you have Pacer fans who are like, this is going to be over in 5, and you got Knick fans who are telling me it's over in 5. I could see the series going 6 or 7. I really could. So, what about this series has got you excited to watch Tyrese Halliburton, Jalen Brunson, these two teams squaring off? What's got you excited here?
So I think part of it is the Pacers actually making it back to the conference finals. So I think might have to start looking at them a little bit differently, especially if they can get through the Knicks and get to the finals. But it's going to be the Pacers want to play free, wide open basketball. The Knicks want to muddy it up, slow it down, and be selective with their opportunities in transition. So it's going to be which team can impose their pace on the other one first. Like if the Pacers speed up the Knicks, I think the Knicks could play that way a little bit, but I don't think that's the way that they want to. And if the Knicks can slow down the Pacers, which I think we kind of said this with the Pacers before, but it's like slow them down, force them to execute in the half court, I think that would play into the Knicks' hands because the Knicks, we know, very physical defensively. So, and I think the deeper we get into the playoffs, like the more the rest will kind of allow. So this is going to be an interesting matchup. Plus Brunson on Halliburton at times, like Halliburton is a bigger point guard. So if he can maybe exploit that a little bit by forcing switches, I think that could work in their favor.
Yeah.
And,
I was
just going to say, and for the Knicks, it's like Cat, Miles Turner, very similar, play kind of similar, like to be on the perimeter. Like which one of them can probably knock down the three more efficiently might have a good hand in who wins this series as well.
For me, and I love that, but for me, it's the role players, right? I'm looking at the role players in this one and saying, like, what does Anunoby give me in this one? What does a guy like Josh Hart do in a series like this? Are those guys able to contribute like we saw him do against the Celtics, like we saw those guys do against the Cavs? Because I don't know what goes on with Nembhard, but when the playoffs start, he just starts knocking down shots. And I thought I saw Mathurin had a pretty good season against the Knicks. Was I right? Mathurin was pretty darn good against the Knicks in the regular season. I thought I saw.
I think so. Yeah. And
so,
Neesmith, you got to throw Neesmith too. I was just saying that you have to throw Neesmith in there as well as a guy.
Oh my goodness, yes,
Neesmith. A lot of energy off the wing. Yeah.
Wasn't Neesmith was he a part of one of these other teams at one point? Was he with the Celtics at one point?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yes. That's what it was. And they kind of were like, I don't know about you. And that's what these Pacers are. I mean, as much as I dislike watching them because they are a lot of loudmouth, a lot of, I don't agree with some of the stuff that they do. And it's just, there's physical basketball and then there's what the Pacers sometimes do and that they get into head. And I mean, they do a heck of a job of getting into your head. But I will say this is a team that's overlooked and they play like it. And I think that is the MO of, a guy like Neesmith or a guy like Nembhard or even a guy like Mathurin who's trying to fight Giannis for some reason. I have no idea. Everybody's trying to fight Giannis for some reason. I have no idea what Giannis does to everybody, but they try to all fight him. But I think it's an MO of this team is that they are an overlooked team and that's their fuel. And that's what Tyrese Haliburton, I saw he was on Pat McAfee and he was kind of talking about that with Pat McAfee, just talking about how this team's been overlooked and that's their fuel and that's what they use there. So I think this is going to be a fun series. Because what the Knicks showed against the Celtics, I know Jason Tatum went out, but that game that the Knicks won against the Celtics when Jason Tatum got hurt, that was trending towards being a classic finish. Like one of those finishes where we look back on in 10 years and we're like, holy crap, do you remember that game when Jason Tatum took it down to the wire, Jalen Brunson was hitting shots? Like this is a series where we're going to see two offenses that can go at it pretty hard. And like you said, the athleticism to kind of match each other, right? That's where I think it's going to be different. In my opinion, I don't know. Am I wrong there where I say I think the Knicks can match physicality with this Pacers team better than what we've seen so far out of the Bucks and out of the Cavs there? Because both those teams kind of seem like, well, the Cavs were banged up. They've kind of faced two teams who've been banged up, haven't been able to match the physicality, the length, and everything like that, the athleticism. I think this Knicks team can. Am I right there? Or do you think the Knicks kind of lack that athleticism?
No, I think they can because when you look at guys like Anunoby, Hart, who will be out on the perimeter, they're athletic, physical wing defenders. So I think that they will be able to stay in front of some of these guys on Indiana. Where I think that's where like the Cavs and them got in trouble was like they allowed so much that they were scrambling a lot defensively.
Yep.
And I think the Knicks, if they get into scramble mode, can handle that a little bit better. Like the one weakness will be Cat, because Cat defensively has his moments where he's like a step late, he's slow in reacting, and against the Pacers team, if they have it going, that can kill you. So if Cat can be locked in, they're going to put him in a lot of pick and roll action with, Toppin and Turner off of that, obviously, to get them open looks at three. If Cat reacts correctly with those, then I think that's going to work really well for the Knicks. If not, it could be a frustrating series for them.
And the hard part is if you can't use Cat, you don't have a guy, you put in Mitchell Robinson, but he's not a good free throw shooter and they're going to target him like no other. And that's the pick and roll. They love that. They tore apart the Bucks with that. They tore apart the Cavs with that. And like you said, 100% correct. The scramble is what killed. I can't tell you how many times I watched the Bucks just trying to run around and catch up the 3-point shooters. And then all of a sudden there was a shot, right? Mm-hmm. And what the hard part is Nembhard got hot in the playoffs like he does. If Nembhard doesn't get hot and he's a regular season Nembhard, you could throw Cat on him and just say, just keep him out of the paint and you're fine. Not in the playoffs, because in the playoffs, he knocks down everything. So that's kind of where we're at. So this is going to be an interesting series. That one tips off here. I believe that one tips off tonight here, Wednesday. We're recording on Tuesday. Everybody knows, but that tips off on Wednesday there tonight here, 7:00. So it's on right now here across many of the stations. So flipping over Western Conference. Timberwolves, not exactly a team that I did not expect them to get here. I don't know if I am just of the minority in that one, but the Timberwolves were not a team this season when I watch them, even in the series against the Golden State Warriors. If they had Curry, I think that's I know people argue that, but I think it's a completely different series with Curry there. Without Curry, they look lost. The Golden State Warriors look lost. I just think this Timberwolves team, I don't know. They just don't have it for me. So I don't know. Maybe I'm in the minority of that. I'll let you answer that one. But the Thunder, this is a team that we've been waiting for this. It was last year. Now it's this year. We've been waiting for them to rise to the occasion. Thunder fans got nervous because they've never really played from behind. And I think their regular season, they beat teams by 18 plus. I think their margin was 18 points. So in a close game, everybody was worried about, well, they blew out the Nuggets in game 7, so it didn't even matter. But I mean, Kyle, what are we looking at this series? This one, I got to say this one, I mean, out of both series, they both have the potential to be exciting, high flying, great finishes, both go game 7. Like this is two matchups where I don't think there's an odd and even. I think these two teams match up pretty darn well. Are you seeing that with this Western Conference game too? Yeah,
I mean, I think for the Timberwolves, we'll kind of look back and say that they benefited from the side of the bracket that they were on. You know, they got to face a Lakers team that didn't have a lot of size, and we saw that in the clinching game where Rudy Gobert kind of went off. Then they went up against the Warriors team, like you said. I think it was going to be a struggle for the Warriors, even with Curry. But obviously, once Curry was out, you know, Butler didn't step up. Draymond Green's limited, so it was easy for them that way. This one's going to be the series that they will be tested because Oklahoma City can kind of just come at you with waves of guys. Like you have SGA, obviously, who will kind of get his own, but you could have Jalen Williams go off one night. You could get Chet one night. You may get a game where Hartenstein's just bullying guys on the interior. Like Oklahoma City is very, very deep and a very balanced team. I think last year they learned a lot. I think this Nuggets series, they learned a lot. Because look, going into game 7, I thought that series was kind of a toss-up because of what they had done. But then they came out in game 7, put their foot down once they got it going. I mean, Denver did have an early lead in that one, but that little stretch, like at the end of the first half where they just overwhelmed the Nuggets, I think that's the Thunder team that scares a lot of other teams. Like when they get it going, like they get the defensive pressure, they get the knockdown shooting from 3, and you get SGA that you also have to worry about in the mid-range. I mean, he scores at all 3 levels, but it's just they're going to test Minnesota a lot in this series. I think Minnesota, their biggest attribute is confidence. If they are a confident team, we see Ant aggressive, going to the rim, and then he knocks down threes on you that are just backbreakers because it'll be something where you have a little run going. He'll knock one down to end the run and then to kind of start something for Minnesota. He'll knock down a three that might extend a run and really force you into a timeout. And then he, being the emotional leader, gets those other guys going. So I think Ant's going to be locked in, but that's going to be what you're looking for. This is their biggest test. You're going to need Ant to be 100% locked in, looking to attack. And, he's being labeled as like some legend killer or something like this. So now you got the number 1 team.
Oh.
But I'm just saying, like a lot of people are just looking at some of the teams that he's beaten. It's like now you have the number 1 team. Not necessarily any legends on this team, but this is now your test where you're like, if you take out Oklahoma City, you might just be the favorite to win it all. Yeah. At that point, we can't say like you haven't beaten anybody. Because like I said, you beat a Lakers team that a lot of people were on that Lakers team making a surprise run. Then you take on the Warriors, who I think a lot of people were like, the Warriors as a lower seed could surprise some people. Now, if you take out the 1 seed, the East is going to look kind of easy for you.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I just hate the labels. They try to label guys. Like, I remember Anthony Edwards was labeled as the next Michael Jordan. He's the next coming to Michael Jordan. And then that went way worse than what it should have. And I think it got to his head and everything like that. But I'm looking at the series and I'm like, who's going to be the Robin to the Batman, right? You have SGA, you have Anthony Edwards. Who's going to come along, right? You have to have somebody come along for the ride. Who's going to be that guy in this series? You look at a guy like Jalen Williams. When he kind of goes away and he struggles the Thunder struggle. When he's feeling it and he's right there with SGA, those two are night and day. It's like boom, 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 here we go. You can put one guy can score it, the other guy can facilitate. The other guy can score it, he can facilitate. Those two play great together. And then the same on the flip side, but I think it's Julius Randle. I think Julius Randle has to be the X factor along with Anthony Edwards in that series there with the Timberwolves. So I like this matchup. I really do, but I just think it's the same in both series. The star power is there. I just think it's going to be the role players that are going to decide it, because you always have the star power. It's just who's going to come along and help it out, right? Who's going to be that guy? And you know what? About the legend killer, too, I just thought about that. Steph Curry didn't even play. You can't count that. We can't count that. Steph wasn't even there. Like, he's there, but you beat Draymond. Like, you beat Draymond. And still, Draymond had a pretty good series there. He was knocking down shots. I was impressed. Like, Draymond, he stepped up. Jimmy's like, I'm only going to shoot 9 times, even though nobody's here to shoot the basketball. I'm going to shoot 9 times. Same with somebody else had that in a game, clinching one there. Oh, Jokic. Jokic went away for the Nuggets there. I mean, I get they lost by a lot, but he only took a few shots there. It's like he was already racing horses at that point. So, I mean, just it's that kind of, So, I mean, let's do a series prediction. What do you got for me? Who is going to be in your NBA Finals? Timberwolves, Thunder, and then we got the Knicks and the Pacers. Who is going to be your NBA Finals? It's going to be exciting either way. I think it's going to be great matchups either way you put it.
That's a good question, because in my mind, it's like 2 matchups work. If the Thunder make it through, I would want the Pacers. I think that would be the better matchup.
That'd be fun. That'd be a fun.
I think if the Wolves get through, it has to be the Knicks, because I think those 2 styles match up better. Plus, you have the Randle Cat trade as part of it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So it's almost like, which one of the 2 do I want to see? And the more I think about it, I think we're going to get Thunder. I think the Thunder beat the Wolves in 6. And then I think the Pacers beat the Knicks in 7.
Okay.
And we get Thunder Pacers.
I like something entices me about the Knicks. Whatever it is with the Knicks getting there, something entices me. That Jalen Brunson's been fantastic. He has just been nothing but fantastic. And I know, the Celtics had their issues, right? Injury issues in that series. But son of a gun, I mean, even if he was playing well, like he was carrying that team on his back. And I know, other guys came along to the party, but that was a fun series regardless. I like the Knicks. I'm going to take the Knicks. I like that series, Knicks T-Wolves. I'm not, like, people say because you're from Wisconsin, you're supposed to hate the Timberwolves. Like, why would, like, they're nothing to me. Like, honestly, they're nothing to me over there. They're not a rival. It's not like the Bucks play the Timberwolves all the time. It's like, no, it's not really a rivalry. So I don't know. I'd be okay seeing it. I just hope then the Knicks win it, because I don't know. Anthony Edwards rubs me. There's a lot of guys that rub me the wrong way. So I have a question when we come back from the break. We're going to hit a quick break. We're going to come back. Kyle's going to join us again. I have a question, and I want to hear your guys' answer out there. Hit up the show here, 715-990-4914. That is 715-990-4914. John Horst is meeting with Giannis. What are you saying if you're John Horst? What is I'm going to say this to Giannis when he walks in that door. What am I going to say? I want to hear what you got to say. I want to hear what Kyle's got to say. We're going to talk about it when we come back here after this quick break on Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Welcome in to Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, coming back on this Wednesday. And hey, this next segment of the show here is brought to you by a fantastic sponsor of the show, and that is Marshfield Motor Speedway, the half-mile paved track just 3 miles west of Marshfield on County Road H. Find upcoming events and races at marshfieldspeedway.com. Maybe you'll see me down there. Maybe I'll be down there. You can see me. We can talk sports. We can watch racing. You don't know. Maybe my wife will be down there with me. Maybe my kid will be down there with me. I don't know. He's not old enough to be at those loud races yet. He does have these cute little earmuffs, though. Maybe he can rock them. Maybe he can rock the earmuffs down there. I don't know. If you want to find us across social media, though, because we share the schedule and everything out on social media, make sure you're doing it. Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch. You want to find us on any of those? Search Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. It'll show up in some facet. Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage, Wisco Sports on the Go with Trage. You can find us out there across social media. So, Kyle and I, every week, Kyle's always a part of the Mellow Yellow Minute. And if you haven't listened to the show before, the Mellow Yellow Minute is a trivia show that we dedicate to my grandpa who passed away. It's a great segment of the show that we've done here since the beginning of the show. So, anyways. So, Kyle came up with the question of the day, and that is Trage's favorite MLB ballparks outside of American Family Field. I cannot have American Family Field. Lucky for him, it wasn't even in my top 3. So, Kyle, go one crazy one out there, and then I'll give hints. Go one crazy one. What do you got for me?
I was going to say Camden Yards in Baltimore. I think it's still Camden Yards, but yeah.
I do like Camden Yards. I'd take Camden Yards. Yeah, I'll put that in my top 3. Camden Yards will be in the top 3. I'll put it at number 3. That'd be my number 3.
I mean, yeah, the warehouse, ballpark. Everything. Yeah, it's got to be up there.
It's a pretty nice ballpark.
I think 2, I would go. I feel like a lot of these I probably know the old name. PNC Park, the Pirate Park. With the skyline, everything.
Yeah, I do enjoy PNC Park. Yes, that is on there. Definitely on there. Number 1. This one's going to be interesting.
Because there are a couple that do come to mind. I know Petco with the Padres is a nice one. You have Bush with the Cardinals, kind of a classic one.
Is it classic? Okay. It's a stadium, but they redid it. But I love this. That when they had this in the outfield, it was awesome. It was something weird in the outfield.
So first thing came to mind was the little mound area in Houston.
Yes. I love that hill. I absolutely love that hill. Watching guys when you hit it up there and they're climbing up that hill to try to go get it. Yes. So if I had to pick one that was my favorite at one point, it would be that, just because of that hill. Outside of that, stadium sucked. Otherwise, that's there. Yeah. So there you go. Trage's favorite ballparks. The old Astro Stadium with the hill out there, PNC Park, and Camden Yards. Those pretty good guesses there, Kyle. Pretty darn good guesses. I mean, who would have said Wrigley? Like, honestly, who would have said Wrigley? Nobody. Absolutely nobody. It's like, why do you have vines out in the outfield and a brick wall behind them, and the vines don't grow until it's July? So it's just ugly until then. And then your lights suck. And it's just, Chicago. It's Chicago. So we went to the break and I asked the question. I said, if you're John Horst and you're going into this meeting with Giannis, I don't want to talk about Giannis this and Giannis that. It's been exhausted. I want to talk about John Horst. When you're going into this meeting with Giannis, if I'm going into it, and I want to hear what Kyle's got to say after I say what I got to say here, but if I'm going into it, I'm saying, Giannis, you only really have 2 options. This is the way we see it. We're not ready to compete now. We can go get you some guys. We're going to be in contention for a decent playoff spot, but not in contention for the NBA Finals, unless if something miraculous happens. Right now, we're under this little bit of a cap right now. We have some contracts, not very good contracts. We're paying guys we probably shouldn't. That's where we're at. We're going to build these guys up, the young guys. We're going to get them going. A couple years here, we're going to be ready. That's your honest. Like, if you want to be honest with Giannis. Now, if you want to be really honest with Giannis, you say, okay, Giannis, you tell me. Because we're going to support you and we want you to go where you want. If you want to trade, tell us where you want to go. And I think Giannis, he loves Milwaukee enough. He's going to say, I want to go here, but I want to make sure you guys get max value for me on my way out. I think those are the only really realistic 2 options. I know a lot. I've heard a lot of people, a lot of different shows talking about what John Horst could say. I think there's only realistically 2 things he can say. Either A, we're a couple years out. Don't lie to me, right? He knows we're a couple years out. Or B, where do you want to go? If you want to leave, where do you want to go? And will we be able to work with you and make it possible to send you to a destination that works for you, but also works for us? That's where I kind of think it's going to be right now. Where do you see it? If you're John Horst, you're walking into that interview with Giannis or that, end of the season presser. What are you saying to Giannis?
I mean, I think I'm right there with you. And especially if it's the second option, it's like, where do you want to go? If you're Horst, you're hoping he's like Oklahoma, San Antonio, one of these teams, young assets and picks. That's what your hope would be. I think if you're going to sell him on staying, I agree. Don't lie to him and be like, well, we're going to turn us around next year and be contenders. No, don't tell him that. You tell him, look, we'll be a playoff team. It'll look a little different, but contending might take a couple of years because, like you said, some of these young guys will be thrust into roles because we have some older players that we will move out, or if they do come back, it's going to be diminished roles. So it's going to be, how committed are you, Giannis, to going through not necessarily a tear down rebuild, but more of a reshaping of our roster. If you're fine with a couple of years of being like a 5-6 seed, first, second round exit type of team while we get some of these guys up to speed, then yeah, we'd love for you to stay. But if you're expecting us to turn this roster into a 60-win, 1 seed that's going to win the title next year, got to tell you that's not happening. The moves aren't out there to make that happen. The money on our side isn't out there to make that happen. So, look him dead in his eye, you go, with all that being known, what do you want to do?
Yep.
Because the minute you walk out this door, we're going to go to work on whatever it is you want. I think you just keep it real with them like that.
I like that. Keep it as real as possible. And then at the end of the day, you know exactly what's happening. Don't play this, the long game, right? I don't want to play the long game. I want to know right now because, like you said, you can get started on reshaping this team right now. Because after Giannis is gone, it's basically, oh boy, we got to retool. We got to do all this. I would rather, if you're going to get something for Giannis, get it now. Get max value that you can now. If you go and you call, I'm just talking mock trades and nobody knows if this is actually going to happen. But, you're talking with the Houston Rockets. They're talking Sengun. They're talking Jalen Green. You get 2 guys like that and plus picks back for a guy like Giannis. You already are setting yourself up for next year. Maybe we're not, we're not winning. You're not getting a 1 seed. We're not getting a 2, but we could still be a 5 or a 6 with Jalen Green and Sengun in there. I know you're not going to have Dame, but you're talking about, you're going to bring pieces back like Bobby, etc. in there. Maybe get a guy, Trent back. And I think this is still a team who can win some games. Is it going to be pretty at times? No, but you can still win some games. But you want to get that head start on that. You don't want to be behind the 8 ball once again. So I completely agree. And I think we're both on the same page of what you have to say if you're John Horst to Giannis walking in there. So let's get away from the NBA just a little bit because I want to talk. Kyle's on, and we love talking about the random stuff. And the random stuff with the NFL is always the best, right? So the players are okay to play in the Olympics now. Good. I think a good thing, right? I think that's a good thing. What do you think, Kyle? Is it a good thing? Because for me, it's like, we heard the actual flag football players were upset by it. And I get that. But at the same time, if you're a country, don't you want your best guys playing anyways? That's kind of where I would be. So what do you think, Kyle? Where are you at with this one? You're good with the NFL players playing the Olympics?
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. Same with any other sport. If these guys want to take their summer where they could just sit back and do nothing and actually want to play for their country, who am I to say otherwise? I think it would be cool if we get a mix. Some NFL players with pro flag football players. I think that'd be interesting, maybe hilarious, but yeah, it'll probably just be an all NFL team.
Give me a tournament. Just give me a tournament to get, they have it's like qualifying for the Olympics and stuff. Qualify to be the Olympic flag football team.
Yeah.
Make a tournament out there in LA. Take your football players, whoever you want. Make a team up. Tell them, hey, you make a team of your guys. We'll make a team of these guys. And then slowly just build rosters and just be like, all right, now you guys compete. Winner gets to play in the Olympics. I think that could be fun. I'd watch it. It'd probably be on ESPN The Ocho, but I'd watch it. That'd be okay. In between the kickball game and slippery stairs, they'll have flag football presented by whatever. There. So, I'm good with it. I'm good with it there. So I want to do something fun. Let's do a flag football team.
Okay.
Who would be so you have a quarterback. I think they have running backs on there. So you have a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver. You have 3 wide receivers, I believe, and then you have a center. Or you have 2 wide receivers and a center, I believe, is how it goes. It's something like that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty darn sure there. So we'll do quarterback, running back, 2 wide receivers, and a center. Okay. So let's start quarterback. If you had to pick your quarterback for your flag football team, who are you rolling with?
There's a couple ways you could go with it. I would probably take a That's a really good question. I feel like the obvious answer would be Mahomes for his passing ability. Yeah, I'll take Mahomes.
I think I'm going Lamar Jackson.
See,
I
that's
just
the other
think
name.
running around with him that'd be a lot. Like, I think he's built for flag football, to be honest with you. So running back. The running back's interesting.
I think running back, I would go Saquon.
Saquon. Okay, Saquon's gone. Give me Jahmyr Gibbs.
That was the other
Gibbs
name I
would
had
be
as well.
fun. Gibbs would be fun. He's got the speed. He's got the versatility. I like Gibbs in there at my running back. Wide receiver 1.
I think you got to go Justin Jefferson.
Yep. Justin Jefferson. So next up, Jamar Chase. I think you'd take Jamar Chase if you had another wide receiver 1. Who's your wide receiver 2? You can take Jamar Chase. Like you can double down with Jamar Chase.
I know, but I feel like for the exercise, I'll take somebody else. I mean, look, flag football, using on a lot of speed. Why not go with a Xavier Worthy?
Oh, I like that. If Tyreek Hill is not broken, I think you'd take Tyreek Hill, right? I mean, that wouldn't be a bad move there. Another guy. I'm going to go Brian Thomas.
Okay.
I'm going to go Brian Thomas Jr. from Jacksonville. I think that'd be an interesting one. I like that. So I'm going with him. Okay, center. Now, center, you don't have to pick a center. It could be a tackle. Right. It could be a tackle that you move in. I played football. I mean, you want kind of a speed guy. You want more versatility in there to move around.
That's true. And I was thinking of a tackle probably. First one that came to mind. I'm not even sure why. I'd probably go Penei Sewell.
Okay, that's a good move there. I'm going to go Elton Jenkins. I'll move him in. I'll move Elton Jenkins in. He's moving in to play center anyways for the Pack. I'll move him in from guard to center. That's fine. He can move in. He was either him or Rasheed Blocker. I was all over the place with Packer guys, just trying to get a Packer guy in here for me. So that was fun. I can't wait to see what flag football looks like. I don't hate the Pro Bowl. I don't find it. It's not like, wow. Yeah. But it's like, it's okay. Like, I'll watch it. It's entertaining. It's just not like wow factor. So before you got to get out of here, Kyle, because I know you got other things you got to get going to tonight here. But before you get out of here, the onside kick rule. The dynamic, we're sending guys down the field there. That's all staying. But now they're talking, league owners are going to consider a proposal to change the onside kicks that would allow the trailing team to declare an onside kick at any point during the game. Any point in the game. I'm fine with that, but here's my only thing, and this is why I'm still upset. Why do we have to tell people we're doing it? Why? Why does it have to be that way? I don't want to. It's like, I've said it before and I'll say it. It's like telling people you're going to throw a curveball. It's like telling people you're going to throw a fastball here. Only the Astros get to know that. We don't get to know that. The Astros do. Shots at the Astros. I don't know. It drives me absolutely nuts with this. You have to declare it. We're not declaring war here. We're kicking a ball off. Like, I don't know, Kyle, where are you at with this one?
I mean, I probably would have been more upset with that if we weren't at the point where even with regular kickoffs before the dynamic kickoff, there were still rules on how many guys could be on one side versus the other. So it was kind of the same anyway. So now you can just do it the dynamic way and be like, hey, we're doing an onside kick. I feel like it's going to be the same no matter what. So I'm okay with that. I think that was probably the worst part of the dynamic kickoff to a lot of people is that you had to declare it. It had to be like fourth quarter, the very end. Like give teams opportunities to do it a little earlier if they want to. I do like the dynamic kickoff, by the way. I think we saw an increase in kickoffs being returned. That was the whole point of it.
No, I'm good with the dynamic. I'm good with that. I'm over that. Like, I think that's fine. I think it's the declaring of the onside kick that is like, why? Why do we have to? Because then Dan Campbell just kicked the onside kick all game long. Otherwise, he'd just be like, all right, let's roll it out, boys. Let's just do it here. So we don't know the answer to this. They're going to have an answer probably by the time the show comes out here. So everybody's going to know this answer already. But I just want to get our opinions on the tush push. What are your thoughts? Tush push? Do you like it? Do you want it out? What are your thoughts on this one?
I'm fine with the tush push, but you have to balance it out. Where a lot of these teams have the problem is you could push, like use Jalen Hurts because they're the poster child for this. You could get linemen, well, not linemen, like running backs, tight ends lined up behind him and pushing him. That's illegal defensively.
Yep.
So if you allow like linebackers to push on your nose tackle, then I think now you have something. So I think they'll modify it, but I feel like it stays in the game because it's a football play.
Yep. No, that's where I'm at on it right now is if you're going to allow the offense to have an advantage, you have to allow the defense to have that same advantage. And I think that's the big thing. If you're going to have 5 guys barreling down on one nose tackle, well, then you better allow the linebackers to have some pushback at that one. Otherwise, you're going to have more plays. And I think where it becomes exhausting is like we saw with the Commanders, where they just kept jumping off sides. And then we have the NFL making up rules that they can just award a touchdown. And it's like, you're going to award a touchdown because of this play and at this time. And I get it's a yard and everything. But honestly, if it's going to be an issue like that, where we're going to get stupid football and everything like that, I'm good with it also being gone. Because, I love when they said they keep bringing up injuries, right? And the injury factor of what could happen. And, the owners are like, oh, well, show us an instant, right? Show us an instant. And they said there hasn't been one, but you asked the chief medical person in the NFL and they said, well, if it does happen, it's going to be catastrophic. So, all right, now you're working with that. And it's like, I don't want to be the first one to get hurt because it's not if, it's when. Mm-hmm. When somebody gets hurt, then we got to bring this all back to the front and then it's going to be a big problem. It's going to be a huge problem. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like I said, we're late to the party here because they already voted on this. We already know the answer probably by the time our show's out here. So we have, everybody's like, we already know what happened, dude. Well, we just want to get our opinion voiced on that one there. So Kyle, before I let you out of here, let everybody know where to find you out there across social media so that they can find you, give you follows, likes, everything like that.
Yeah, just chomping at the bit. Whether it's YouTube, Facebook, you name it, I'm out there. So, Twitter, X, TikTok, all that. So, yeah, just look me up.
That's how you keep up to date on everything. Kyle gives me all my stuff for NBA talk, everything like that. He keeps me up to date just as well as anybody else out there, even better than Stephen A. Smith. That is for darn sure. So we'll be back here. We got Brewers to talk about yet today here. We're going to talk Brewers when we come back from the break here, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here in a quick minute after the quick commercial break. Welcome back to Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, coming back on this Wednesday. And hey, this next segment of the show, the Brewer Talk here. We got a little Brewer Talk here to end us for the day. This next part is brought to you by a fantastic sponsor, and that is Sport and Spine Clinic of Greenwood, Wisconsin. Their expert traditional physical therapy and structural integration programming. Call for flexible scheduling and evaluations within 24 to 48 hours. Just call 715-267-4583. That is 715-267-4583. So, I want to get to the Brewer Talk here. The Brewers over this last little stretch, it's been, I want to say it's been rough. Yeah, it's been rough. Let's just go with that. We're not going to sugarcoat this one. We're not going to sugarcoat this one at all. You look at the month of May here. They started out, it wasn't great, right? He lost that game to the White Sox. He had a couple losses to the Chicago Cubs, got a win, had a 3-game win streak, beat the Astros, won the Astros series. Last game against the Astros was terrible. And then you went through this stretch where you were winning just the 3rd game of the series. And you were pretty good at that. And now you got this series against Baltimore. As I'm recording here, you're in game 2 of the series here. Nothing, bottom second. But you won game 1. So change up the little narrative, right? You won 2 games. It's crazy. You won 2 games there. It's absolutely baffling that you figured out how to win 2 games again. I'm just kidding. Just kidding, of course. Don't want to knock completely on the Brewers. Last week when we talked Brewers, I don't know if we had an overreaction. Maybe, some people thought it was an overreaction from what I heard. Others were like, you were gone with it. So it depends on who you are. A lot of people it depends who you ask at this point. Some people are in the boat of the season's a wash. We should basically trade away the big guns and try to build up. There's other people who are in the boat of, well, we still got a shot because the rest of the division's a struggle. I agree with both because the division's not out of reach. Not at all. The Cubs are not running away with this. Everybody's sitting here like, oh, the Cubs are going to run away. They have star power, but they're not deep in any facet. And the bullpen struggles at times. And the rotation's not great. So I don't think they're running away with it. I don't think the Cardinals are going to run away with it. I don't think anybody in the NL Central is going to run with it. The Reds they won 5 in a row. I don't know what they're going to do here as we're talking, but they had won 5 in a row. So they've been playing well. So I'm looking at the rest of the division and I'm like, hey, they got time. They're doing fine. They're hanging around. Now it's a question of either one or the other. Do you go all in and try to make this thing work, or do you maybe just try to make this thing work? And I said it, I don't know if I said it last week or I said it the week before. I said, I feel like the Brewers are in this transition period. And they've been in the transition period for the last 2 years. It's just last year they won baseball games. This year, they're not. And now we're like, what's going on? This is a team that won games with a similar roster last year. What's going on now? I think we're kind of getting back to that realization. You have a guy like Joey Ortiz in your lineup right now who's struggling mightily. Sal Frelick's been playing well, so has Terang. But you look at Yelich, I don't want to sugarcoat Yelich anymore, guys. I don't want to hear anybody defend this guy anymore. I'm so far past that at this point. What are you defending? I mean, honestly, we sit here and we're like, oh, well, he's got 7 home runs. He's got 26 RBIs. Fantastic. He's batting to 194. 194. His on-base percentage, 289. His OPS is just above 600. He's got a negative WAR right now. So, yeah. When at the end of the day, when I look at it, he's not doing nothing. Not doing nothing special for me at the moment. And I don't want to hate. I have never been a true on Yelich lover since he's come to Milwaukee. I'll admit that. But I'm here to say that at this very moment, they're not winning games because he's in the lineup. And that's a problem. What I saw from William Contreras in that first game of the series against the Orioles, when Contreras got on and he stole second base and he started screaming back to the dugout, and he's clapping, he's hooting, he's hollering, he's yelling, and we saw him get that base knock there, a huge base knock, that drive in and ending up being the winning run. That moment when I saw that yelling, that screaming, we've said it before, who's going to step up, be the leader? They don't have a leader right now. That moment right there, that was it. That was saying, let's go. Let's go. We need a vocal guy. Contreras said, I can be that guy. I could be that vocal leader. And that is what they've been lacking. That's what I thought Christian Yelich has been lacking, being is a vocal leader, a guy stepping up there as a veteran, your big money guy, and being the guy. And he hasn't been there. I honestly have looked at, Brandon Woodruff. He's been gone. He's been on minor league stints and stuff like that. Brandon Woodruff being a leader for the pitching staff and being there along with that. I think he's a huge voice inside of that locker room or inside that clubhouse. So not having him, I think that hurts at times. So I look at this team right now and some of the things that I'm seeing right now. So I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like this team's too patient at times. And when I say that, I see a lot of middle fastballs where the Brewers are just, we're going to let that one go. At one point, when this offense was struggling, it seemed like they didn't adjust the approach. And that's where, when you're struggling, sometimes it might be better to get after the first pitch fastball. Why? Because it might be the best pitch you see in the entire at-bat. Right? You get down 0-1, now the pitcher's got the upper hand, they can work with something. So when this team was struggling, and they still kind of are offensively, attacking that first pitch, ambushing pitchers. When I see a lot of these teams and they game plan for the Brewers and they game plan for a guy like Freddie who wants to get you with the high cheese, and you game plan for that and you attack early, or you attack that high cheese knowing that he wants to go up with the fastball and you could get to it. That's where I just feel like at times the pitching coach, or not pitching coach, but the hitting coaches for the Brewers, I feel like they're a little bit behind. And that's a problem. That's a problem if you ask me. And I feel like I really do, when I'm watching this and when I'm seeing this, it just seems like the Brewers are they're not attacking. They're not ambushing pitchers. They're not getting after them. They're leaving a lot of middle. And it's not breaking yourself out of a slump. It's not changing it up. And that kind of gets me because we see the Brewers hitting a lot of, and goes along with it, hitting a lot of pop-ups, shallow fly balls, getting under the baseball. How many more times am I going to watch Caleb Durbin fly out 90? He's going to hit a ball 1,000 feet up in the air, and it's going to drop into short center field, and they're going to catch it. I swear it's every time. Every time he swings, he gets under it. I don't know if it's the approach that the Brewers are taking. They think they have to hit the long ball. I don't know what it is, but the approach is not there. And there's a lot of guys who are trying to do too much. Everybody hates on Sal Frelick. I don't understand it. And I was going to bring that up anyways, but there's a lot of Sal Frelick hate out there, and I don't get it anymore. I really don't. Sal Frelick is one of the only consistent bats in his life. Do you not like Sal Frelick because he's not flashy and he's not a big home run hitter? Is that why you don't like him? He's a contact guy who just puts the ball in play. Is that why you don't like him? But you know what I love about Sal? That's what he does. He just puts the ball in play. He just makes things happen. You're going to live and die with it. He doesn't have hard contact rate. Sorry. But you know what? He's batting .279 when I'm talking about this right now. He's batting .279. He's got 60 total bases. Out of everybody on the Brewers, and he's got 19 strikeouts. 19. Out of everybody on the Brewers, outside of probably Turang, he's been one of the only bright spots. And Hoskins. Hoskins has been hitting the ball well, so I will say Hoskins too. Contreras has been coming on. But consistently, those are your bright spots. So I don't understand the hate for him right now, but he's a guy who he just looking to drive the ball. Same with Turang. They're just looking to drive the ball wherever it is. Sal's looking more inside right now. He's been great at ripping that inside pitch. Guys are still trying to attack him in there, and he's been great ripping it there. Turang's been taking it to all fields. Like he's been, I mean, nothing but fantastic. Jackson Chourio doesn't know what he's doing up there right now. And we talked about this a while back. We said, is it alarming that he's only taken 4 walks and he swings at everything? Yep. It's alarming now. Guys are starting to pitch him low and away and getting him to chase. And he's doing it. And he's doing it consistently. So is it alarming? Yes. We had that question a couple weeks back. We said, is it alarming that the low walk rate and the low take rate from Jackson Chourio? And we asked, is that a problem? Yes, it is. I am fully all in on it is a problem. Yelich, I don't know what else to say at this point here. That is, I don't know what's going on. It's broke. Joey Ortiz, I really do think Joey Ortiz. At this point, right now, this very moment right now, I love Joey Ortiz. I do. I would love to see him. I'd love to see him find a way at some point here. But at the same time, I am at this point now where if it don't happen soon, you got to do something. I don't know what it is, right? Do you have a lot of options? I don't think so. There's nobody really down in the minors right now where there's guys in the minors, but there's nobody you're looking at right now at AAA Nashville, and you're saying that guy's ready to go. He's ready to come up right this very second and impact this team. They don't have that guy down in the minors right now. The guy that you thought you had was Andrew Monasterio because he was hitting the ball really well down there, and they already brought him up, and, well, we've seen what happened so far since bringing him up there. Outside of that, you really don't have a lot of – you have Freddie Zamora down there, Freddie Zamora has been hitting the ball well in AAA. I mean, with .299 batting average and 67 at-bats, he's got 20 hits. He's been hitting the ball well. So maybe a guy like Freddie Zamora, we might see him sooner rather – at this point, what's it going to hurt? And I was having a good conversation the other day with my father-in-law. We were talking about the Brewers and everything like that. And I said to him, I was talking about the transition and, being ahead of it. And I said, at this very moment, where I'm at with this team and where I'd be okay with is seeing some of these young guys get playing time. See some of these young guys come up, get them on the field. And because right now, what is Joey Ortiz doing that I don't think Freddie Zamora could do, right? Bringing some of these guys up and just seeing what they can do. Maybe find lightning in a bottle. I don't know. But bringing them up and just trying it. Because, I mean, even a guy like Ernesto Martinez, the first baseman down there, the big guy, he's 6'6". I mean, he's huge for a first baseman. He's got some speed on him, too. Even bringing up a guy like that to play first base. Wes Clark's been, he's had some power in the past there in spring training, and he's been hitting the ball decent down in AAA. But bringing some guys up and just seeing what they got, because at this very moment, outside of a few, you have holes in your lineup. And if you have guys with options, Joey Ortiz, if you have an option to send him down AAA, send him down AAA. See if he can work it out. And then bring him back. Get some sometimes it's confidence right now. I told you guys the other day, I look at his spray charts and I'm like, Joey Ortiz has no idea what he's looking for. No idea. Last season, he was swinging inner half. He was looking for the inner half pitch. Now he's all over the place. His hot zones are everywhere. He doesn't know it's not really hot, but where he's swinging at is everywhere. He doesn't know where he wants it. That's a problem. And I think that's a confidence issue. And Pat Murphy's been talking about it. And he kind of talked about it here. He said, Murphy on the Brewers slump. He said, I trust the players. I like the players. I think they're good. Now we just got to now, did we go and spend a lot of money in the offseason, guys? Let's call a spade a spade. No, we didn't. Are we real deep in the position player business? No, we're not. But we have good ones, and we have ones that aren't getting results right now and aren't getting the best state of mind. That's exactly what he's saying right there. You have guys who he believes in, who he thinks have potential. Problem is that he doesn't feel like they're mentally there right now, that they're not in the right state of mind and the confidence level to get it done. That's where I feel like a guy like Contreras, like I said the other night there, getting the team fired up by stealing that base late in the game, driving at a run, jacking up the dugout. I think that's huge. You need guys like that. Sal Frelick, when he hit that home run the other day, just jacking up your team and being a spark plug. That's what they need as a spark plug right now. And I mean, we could go on for hours and hours on the not spending money in the offseason, taking a shot, but not taking a shot, right? He kind of took a shot at the front office, but didn't really take a shot, but at the same time did. So I kind of like Pat Murphy. He's walking if you love your job, kind of walking a tightrope. If you feel like Mark Anastasio is that kind of guy to get rid of you, if you kind of talk bad about him, but he's walking that tightrope, but he's kind of saying what everybody's thinking, basically, or what everybody knows is that they didn't go spend money in the offseason. Now we're seeing what the problems, we're seeing the repercussions of not spending money on bats or anybody else. And I mean, you're getting guys, but like 17 years too late, like Eddie Rosario. A couple years ago, sure, Eddie Rosario been great. Now it's like he's a little bit older and has struggled in the past, but he's been hitting well in his first couple games there down in Nashville. So maybe, just maybe, Eddie Rosario becomes a spark plug. I don't know at this point, but there's only one way to find out. So the Brewers will continue the series with the Orioles, and then we're going to see a stretch of games here. We got the Orioles coming up, then they got the Pirates over the weekend there. So you're playing two basement dwellers, I guess you could say, and then you're going to take on Boston. You get to see Skeens on Friday. So Skeens versus Peralta should be a good matchup there. That's going to be a fun one. You're going to have Boston coming up, then Philly. So you got some good matchups coming up here for the Brewers that they could be able to salvage some series here and get themselves back into the race. So we're going to wrap up the show here on the backside here. We got a little bit more. We're going to wrap up the show when we come back here. So we'll be back here after this quick commercial break on Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Welcome back as we wrap up the show here on this Wednesday, this May 21st. I can't believe it's already the end of May. It's ridiculous. But hey, if you missed any portion of the show today, if you want to listen back, definitely do it. Definitely subscribe to us out there. Follow us, like us on Facebook, everywhere. But if you want to listen to the show, if you missed any portion of the show, you can find it tomorrow across all podcast platforms. Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get podcasts, you can find the show. Just search Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trade. Even if you listen to us every Wednesday, still go to the podcast platforms, give us a follow, subscribe, like us there. The support means the world to us. So we'd love if you do that. You can also find us Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch. Find us across all of those. Wisco Sports on the Go, Wisco Sports on the Go Trade. You can find us any facet of those things. You can find us on those. You want to email the show? Definitely do us. Let us know your questions, comments, anything like that. Wisco Sports on the Go @gmail.com. That is Wisco Sports on the Go @gmail.com. Or you can shoot us a text. Always, you can text us during the week if you have questions, comments, anything like that about the show. Make sure you do it. 715-990-4914. That is 715-990-4914. So a great show. Thank you all for tuning in tonight here. Umar was on earlier. We talked Packers, a whole bunch of stuff going on with the Packers. The Brewers, we hope to see them continue the winning ways. We hoping to find some kind of confidence in there. That would be great. Maybe some of the vets step up and find a leadership role in that locker room, and Brewers just find a way, right? That's the way the motto has been for the past couple of years, just finding a way. And we hope that they can maybe break out of this and find a way at some point here to kind of blossom, right? Blossom. That's what we're looking for. The spring term of blossom here at this time of year. I hope everybody, if you everybody out there, make sure you're getting your gardens planted. I just got my corn planted here. I got more to plant yet. I'm just behind right now. It's been a crappy week, right? Crappy week, cold, but next week looks like it's going to be warm. So hopefully everybody is enjoying the weekend when it warms up a little bit, and then next week there. So with that, that's about all we got for today. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Wednesday and the rest of your week. But until I talk to you guys again next Wednesday, see ya.